Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? Of course, my name is Kent. The channel is EOS San Diego, and I make a nightly video about the EOS blockchain. And what I want to talk about tonight is I want to talk about the macro as opposed to the micro, the overall picture of the entire economy, not only in the United States, but around the world. And my feelings, and I've said this in my videos before, is that everything has kind of been in the dumps lately. You got the stock market, U.S. stock market, you've got commodities, you've got, of course, cryptocurrencies, interest rates going higher in the United States, but you have an overall down market in almost everything. And I have said in my videos previously that I believe a lot of that has to do with the trade wars. A trade war between the United States and other countries that affect pretty much the global economy. And it's something very complicated. For instance, almost everything, most of things, a lot of things are manufactured in China. So in order to avoid tariffs for Chinese products coming to the United States, maybe it's assembled in another country. For instance, Taiwan. Maybe if it's assembled in Taiwan, it comes to the United States, and then it's a lower tariff than if it comes directly from China. So you can see the problems with this. It just creates an immense problem worldwide with trade. And I know there's no such thing as free trade and all the issues with some countries having advantages over other. I know all that. I know people are all hung up with that because that's in the media. But there's no way to understand how that all works out. There's no way to see how these trade issues all are complicated and how they all play out at the end, because it's just too big of an issue to deal with for almost any product, because every product is different, every country is different. Now we've got tariffs going on with different countries and where it's assembled and who assembles it, where the parts come from. I mean, it gets to be very, very, very complicated. And I think that's been an overall drag in the overall economy, which has in turn hurt crypto, has hurt EOS, has hurt Bitcoin, Ethereum. Everything is being drugged down by these trade wars. I mean, I've talked about it before in my channel. I talked about General Motors the other day, shutting down plants. Of course, they attribute some of that to trade wars and all this other stuff. But tonight, there's been an agreement, I guess, between the United States and China as far as a kind of a ceasefire in the trade war, where for 90 days, for the next 90 days, they're agreeing to work out some sort of an agreement where they may start not doing what they're doing. In fact, the United States has agreed not to raise tariffs on China any higher than they're already than they are currently. I think they were going up to 25%, and I think right now they're at 10%. So they have agreed not to raise these tariffs any higher, which I think is a big deal. It's a big deal for the overall economy, and I think it's a big deal in the macro for cryptocurrencies, including EOS, because things tend to affect people negatively when everything is down. So cryptocurrencies are down because maybe everything else is down. Everything else is down because of these, I think, because of these things going on with the trade wars and everything like that. So I would think that maybe there needs to be some spark someplace to kind of bump everything up, including cryptos. And maybe this could be the spark. I don't know. Maybe it's just, maybe it's too big. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with it. But I do think a ceasefire in the trade war could help cryptocurrencies, including EOS. I'm not saying it's going to bring it back to where it was 6 months ago or a year ago, or where it was when it was, very high, last November, I believe. But I think it may help a little bit, because there needs to be something to get out of this rut. There's got to be some sort of positive news to get out of this rut. You can't be everybody clinging to their cash and holding on to everything because they're afraid that everything's going lower. You don't want to invest in anything, including cryptocurrencies, because the market's so depressed and the market's going down and nothing seems to be thriving right now. So perhaps, just perhaps, this slight little ceasefire in the trade war, even though it means maybe nothing, outside of the fact that they're not going to raise tariffs on China for the rest of the 25% that they were going to do, because it is just a 90-day ceasefire where they're just going to talk it out for a little bit. China's agreed to buy some products from the United States. The United States has agreed not to raise any more hasn't raised the tariff any further than it's already been raised. So maybe there could be some work on that. I think the Trump administration is getting a little bit concerned because you have a constituency, farming constituents, you have people in the automotive industry, and you have people that do a lot of other things right now that are being very hurt by this trade war. I know people have argued with me on this channel about that's saying that it needs to be done, and this is something that has to be done in order to level the playing field. But currently it's hurting everybody, and I think it's hurting even crypto because of this intense trade war going on. So perhaps, just maybe perhaps, I'm throwing it out there, this may affect crypto in a positive manner, indirectly. It may be something that happens indirectly. I don't know, but I see it as a favorable move. And I think Donald Trump's getting a little bit worried about where the future economy is going if he doesn't do something to try to work some of these trade agreements out. Because these trade agreements, there needs to be trade. If you call it fair trade, free trade, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. But there needs to be some sort of trade. You can't have the global economy, the global world not trading with each other because everybody's tariffing each other to the point where now the global cycle becomes something different, where products have to be made someplace else in order to lower the tariffs for them to become a cost, so it could be, feasible to sell it in another country for something not outrageous because of the tariff being so high. So anyway, I'm looking at that as a positive for cryptocurrencies. I'm looking at this ceasefire in the trade war as something positive for cryptocurrencies. Hopefully it shows up in the price. I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much.